So this is actually going to be a bit of a longer video. I have a couple of things to go over, and the video in the background is literally just going to play out. But just to note, this player right here is the person in question that we're talking about. He plays with two other squad mates, and he's also a level 9 account. Now, level 9 being that good is very interesting. However, this player's original account, because this person at the current point is ban evading, because, you know, that's such a great idea to do. You notice he's a level 9, but he's also, you know, there's Oddboz, I guess. I don't know if that's actually his account, if I'm looking at that. It might be. I have no idea. If that's the case, then goop-de-doo. You notice it's a level 9, and he's an officer in the squadron. So the only way you'd be in that position is if you were a high-level person within the squadron, or you got that place for some other reason. I don't really know why. Now, this person is doing something that is essentially wrong. He's ban evading because his original account was banned. There's a website called darkthunder.io where you can go and check all of the bans that have previously occurred. In the last, I think they have tracked up to 54,000 bans total as of this last recording, and this is what's going on. Now, I have in this recording, or at least in this going ons here, a couple of responses of a photo that I received from an anonymous tip of some interesting photos. So the original count of this player in question is a player named Trader Joe. If we go look at Dark Thunder's webpage, which I have on my other monitor right now, we can actually see that Skill Issue here, the name of the squadron, had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players banned in the just recent last August ban wave. Just August. The people who claim that they got banned for no reason are also claiming that they had a person. So let's read this real quick. I'm aware that account sharing is not allowed in the terms of service. In this case, allowed this person to access my account once to test some of my vehicles, as he wanted to try them out shortly afterwards. I changed my password. I am aware you have detected my account with some modification. I am trying to argue that my personal IP was not used to start the game. Normally I have logged in from, I will not dox this person, a state in the US. This case I know was detected from the login in this state in the US on June 17th. This was not my client and someone else's computer. I hope you reconsider my case. That in general, right there, even though he's claiming he's innocent, is an ultimate case of account sharing. He knows where the person is logging in. He knows the person who is logging into his account. This is what a lot of high-tier squadrons do. They share their accounts to quote-unquote test. And in reality, in those same dates, if I looked back at his old account when I was doing all of my investigations, his account was playing on those days, in squadron battles during those days. Which gives you a great example of the fact that these guys all share their accounts to use in squadron battles. That shouldn't be that obvious here. A lot of these guys do this because they want to boost their stats as much as possible, and yet, hey, I might be offline during these times. Can you play on my account to boost my stats? Or so if you need an account that has a bunch of high-tier vehicles on it, that's what they do. Trader Joe, the KingGooner person in question here, had an account that had 4,500 hours on it. I have 5,500 hours on my account. Even if I was in a high-tier squadron, I would not let a single person borrow my squadron, my vehicle. Period. I'm not letting someone borrow my account or even do any of that. For a competitive squadron where all your reward is GE. Now, granted, I am not sure if some of the top-tier rewards that some people get, if they get sort of esports, you know, prizes or whatever, that's possibly a thing that could go on. I don't know. I have heard some cases that these guys actually get paid in real life, but once again, that is not something I entirely know. The other thing I would like to say is that I would also, here's another part of this conversation, I would also like to add that these other members of my squadron are experiencing the same issue from the same person logging into their account once, according to him, including an account named I Am Very Salty, RZ and Anthony, and Laurencio. I Am Very Salty had an account that had 4,500 hours on it. RZ and Anthony, nearly 1,000. Laurencio, nearly 800. A lot of hours put. All of these accounts are owned by separate people, and the owners allowed this person who had a modified client in to test these vehicles. So they knowingly let a person in who had a modified client, and they claim they did nothing wrong. This is what I love about these high-tier squadrons doing stuff like this. Now, granted, I had a video about a high-tier squadron recently that had a player showing off cheats in their account, and I rectified that because that was a person showing off said account, and it was a person showing it off, but actually not in that squadron. I rectified that. That was something I was not really proud of, that I kind of overstepped my boundaries on, but I also, at the same time in that video, was like, allegedly. I didn't know specifically if it was the way it was. I was trying to clarify it, and I couldn't get it out in time before that video went live. But I find it incredibly ironic that just in the last ban wave, according to this player we're watching right here, who's originally called Trader Joe, got banned because he willingly let a person who had a modified client onto his account, and he claims he did nothing wrong. And now he's continuing to play in the game while evading his ban, which is, by the way, Gaijin, against your own terms of service, which is what you originally banned this player for account sharing, which is against your terms of service. So here you go. Here's a free one. This is a very easy point-and-click thing. Even though Trader Joe, according to his own words, says that he's always going to be branded a cheater, that's what it is. Unfortunately, a lot of top-tier squadrons do this. They share their accounts with each other. They do account sharing, which, as always, in the terms of service, is against the rules. It shouldn't be that surprising to me that people are realizing that account sharing is a problem. If you actually looked at the last ban wave, a lot of high-tier squadrons had accounts banned because of account sharing. Because if you don't know this, Gaijin actually does IP track. Now, unfortunately, I can't make that really quiet because for some reason the Puma's noise is exactly, right next to me, even though it's nowhere near this player. So I apologize about the noise, about how loud the Puma is, because Gaijin still hasn't made that quieter for some reason. But yes, I digress. There is a lot of accounts from high-tier squadrons that got absolutely banned during the last ban wave. Now, another thing to note is that a couple players in skill issue got banned with very few hours. One with 11 hours, one with 170, and one with like 300, which are very low hours when we look at a lot of the cheaters we actually normally look at, who have like anywhere from a couple hours to like 300 or 400 hours, which is the usual ban wave sort of section that we see for these guys eventually getting banned in about a month. And they had 3 of those in this recent ban wave. So we can actually assume that the modified client that our person here is talking about is one of these players, or maybe several of these players, which would also indicate that skill issue is actively recruiting people that they know, considering he knows where this person is state-wise in the US, and they know where they are. And they know this person who is logging in with a modified account, which means that skill issue potentially knows that they are willing to let a person, quote-unquote, test their accounts with cheats. And I'm still going to say potentially and allegedly, because this is what this is. Because what it potentially looks like to me, as a person looking objectively at an investigation like this, that skill issue is allowing a person to log into their accounts, knowing where these are coming from, because he says he knows where it was detected from, as this login, which granted you can see on your own page, but they knew the person who it was. They allowed a person to access their account. Okay, they clearly know this person because they looked at the login, and like I said, you can see your own login for IPs on your own account if you look at your profile. So in this case, skill issue is allowing a person to log into their account knowingly with a modified client who is potentially cheating or is cheating on their accounts. Which, if this is the case, then every win that skill issue has had with Trader Joe or any of the players that recently account should be voided. But Gaijin won't do that because that's too much work. But that gives you a great idea of an account with this much ranking, because those indicators are there, are a very high ranking. I think they're a top 20 squadron. That means that they are potentially allowing cheaters into every single battle that they use, because they let the player with cheats on log into at least, according to this email or this photo I've seen, at least 6 accounts, high-level 6 accounts that activate in squadron that participate in squadron battles. That's a pretty big deal, and something that I really think is gonna affect a lot of things in the long run. And I would encourage you to look at Dark Thunder, because Dark Thunder actually shows a lot of the big squadrons. So if you want to look at a big squadron as of recently, it will show you like the overall, like, if you type in a clan tag or a squadron tag, it will, even if it's just SKLSU, it will show you what squadron got banned, when they got banned, and how long they've been registered for. So like some of the accounts that got banned in this have been registered since 2014 or 2017, which is a long time to have an account banned. So I'm going to leave this here. This is one of those things where it's obviously not a person blatantly cheating in my videos. It's not my normal things that I normally do, but you'll understand that ban evading is still a problem and is very much a big issue for squadrons, and is very much a big issue that's going to be affecting squadrons in the coming future. And I do have an investigation with another squadron I'm coming up here, hopefully in the next couple weeks. So, as always, I hope, if you have a person in question, please try to follow them. If you have a person to report to me, please try to follow the pinned comment below. And as always, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, evening, or night. And have a good one.